So Porsche has decided to water down their EV ambitions after reporting a less than dismal sales forecast. It took the numbers and reality to kick in to actually show these mismanaging personalities, that's what I'm calling them, that their decisions will come back to haunt them right about now. So just 2 weeks ago, VW announced they will be closing their Brussels plant due to a drop in high-end EV demand. But before we deep dive into this, if you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button, like and share for more content. So let's take a look at this article from Reuters, and that says Porsche waters down their EV ambitions, saying transition will take years. And if you go a little more into the article, it says luxury car maker Porsche expects the transition to electric vehicles to take longer than thought. It said on Monday, having previously said its aim was for 80% of sales to be all electric by 2030. It has now watered down that goal by tying in explicitly to customer demand and developments in the electromobility sector, saying in a statement only that it could now deliver on 80% target if those factors warrant it. The transition to electric cars is taking longer than we thought 5 years ago, Porsche said in a statement. Our product strategy is set up such that we could deliver over 80% of our vehicles as an all-electric in 2030, dependent on customer demand and development of electromobility. Executives at car makers from Mercedes-Benz to Renault have warned in recent months that goals they set in recent years for electric sales in the next decade were too ambitious, as customers remained reticent to make the switch away from gas-powered car. Well, what do you know? And further it says Porsche, struggling with low EV sales this year so far, highlighted the disparity in its three key markets in EV uptake, with demand far ahead in China, slower in Europe, and spotty in the United States. Usual choice of words right there, spotty, meaning it's not heavily flowing, if you know what I mean. But basically, they're beginning to see the numbers. Our double strategy is more important than ever, Porsche said, referring to its continued development of both combustion engine and electrified cars. And this is what we have been trying to tell you from there under. Look at your numbers, they're very important, and you can't allow others to dictate exactly what you should be doing. But you know who have been doing extremely well? The country affectionately known as South Korea. Now, take a look at this next feature.
South Korea saw an all-time high for auto exports in the first half of 2024. That was mainly attributed to a robust performance, especially in North America, along with greater sales of hybrid cars globally. Park Gun-woo tells us more.
South Korea's automobile exports reached a record high in the first half of this year. Data from the Ministry of Trade, Industry and Energy on Tuesday showed that the value of automobile exports from January to June was over 37 billion US dollars. That's an on-year increase of 3.8%. The ministry said expanding demand and sales of hybrid cars and increased exports to North America were behind South Korea's performance. Specifically, exports to North America jumped 26% compared to a year before, reaching nearly $22 billion. That's in contrast to a decrease in exports to all the other regions during the first half of 2024. The ministry said the drop in outbound shipments to the European market was mainly due to subsidy suspensions for electric cars and unsold inventory from last year. In June alone, export value was around $6.2 billion, similar to last year, despite fewer working days. That continued a run of monthly auto export value above $6 billion in 7 of the last 8 months, with February being an exception due to the Lunar New Year holiday. By region, outbound shipments to North America surpassed $3.6 billion. Exports to the Middle East also saw an increase for the first time in 8 months in June. Production dropped slightly by 2% on year due to a base effect. The industry ministry said better performance is expected for the second half of the year on increased productivity and a return to full-scale production at a Kia factory in Gwangmyeong.
So, what are the key positives from this report so far? 26% increase in exports. South Korean auto exports to North America surged by an impressive 26% compared to the previous year, totaling nearly $22 billion. And this significant uptick underscores the growing demand and acceptance of South Korean vehicles, particularly in the North American market. Hybrid cars played a crucial role in boosting the sales, and who would have known? Consumers in North America are increasingly seeking fuel-efficient and environmentally friendly options. I hope some of these executives who are watching this, you need to get up off your asses and go look at what's going on, particularly there in South Korea. And the South Korean automakers obviously are looking at their sales ratio, their sales expense ratio, their total units in operation, and so that their dealers will benefit from their sales later on during the bad times like what we're experiencing right now. And the funny thing about Korean automakers, they only have about 2 top brands, which is Hyundai and Kia, and they have sub-brands like Genesis and Ioniq, but little known domestic brands such as Sangyong and Pengweng. Pengweng, I may have mispronounced that as usual, but they are doing quite well in both their domestic market and the international market based on what you're seeing their numbers here. So in the world of Sachiti Toyota, open your window. There's a whole world out there, and it's called benchmarking and best practices. Let's finish up this video.
July after a refit. The ministry added it will be supporting companies so that the country can reach its export goal of $100 billion for cars and auto parts for this year. Pakonu, Arirang News.
So despite fewer working days in June due to the holidays, the export value remained strong at around $6.2 billion. And this consistency highlights the resilience and steady demand of South Korean automobiles. With better performance expected in the second half of the year, the industry is on track to reach the ambitious export goal of over $100 billion for cars and auto parts. Look at those numbers. Effective marketing and strategic partnerships have helped the South Korean brands penetrate the North American market for more deeply, gaining significant market share. And the record high exports from South Korea in the first half of 2024 reflect a well-executed strategy focusing on innovation, quality, and market expansion. The impressive growth in North America sales showcases the increasing appeal of South Korean automobiles, particularly the hybrids, in a competitive market. And with continued government support and strategic industry moves, South Korea is well positioned to sustain this growth trajectory and achieve its ambitious export goals. And the question is, will the automotive industry try to keep pace with the rapid technological push and shifts in consumer concerns in regards to high interest rates, growing vehicle prices, limiting options, high inflation, while watching the continued depletion of their disposable income? If you're in this automotive space and you look at other content creators in the automotive industry highlighting the number of growing vehicle lots that are out there, particularly Ford F-150s, Dodge Rams, and other automakers who are not moving these vehicles because of the high prices, then you'll understand why consumers are the ones who drive the market. And will automakers like VW, Porsche emerge stronger, setting new benchmarks for the industry, or will the hurdles prove too significant for them? Or again, you sit idle and wait on the government to try to screw you over? As usual, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Remember to grab a copy of my ebook, The Parts Manager Guide. Please smash that like button on your way out. It'll only take you 1.5 seconds to do so. Until next time.